Hello, thank you so much for tuning in. We are Indigo Sisterhood. My name is Jillian, and Megan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Megan Lorraine. I currently live in Northern Colorado, and I'm part of Indigo Sisterhood. This is our very first podcast, so we have no idea what we're doing. So we're just kind of going along with it. So please bear with us. We promise that our future podcasts will be a lot more organized. But yeah, my name is Megan, and I am a Reiki master. I am also a family therapist. And I am also in the process of becoming a yoga teacher. So definitely going through a lot of changes. And so yeah, like me, Jillian, and Michelle, who you're about to meet next, we randomly decided that we wanted to kind of create like a community for people who maybe are in the beginning of their spiritual journey, or maybe they've been on the path for a while and they just want to connect with us every Sunday, where we talk about different topics as well as interview people that we find inspiring. So whatever brings you with us today, we are so glad and grateful that you are here, and we hope that we can inspire you in whatever way, shape, or form. So Michelle, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Michelle, and I currently am in South Florida. I know, I'm here. It's where I am. I love to travel around. I'm a Reiki master as well. I read cards. I create jewelry. All fun things. I'm also a speech pathologist and trying to transition out of that career. So I'm glad to be here doing this with you beautiful people, and Enzo. Enzo's like our mascot. So yeah, I'm super excited.
I'm super excited to connect with you ladies here and hopefully create a like-minded community and find more of our tribe members through this. Yeah.
Jillian, do you want to say a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I currently reside in Santa Barbara, California. I moved here about 6 weeks ago from New York City. I'm a licensed attorney in New York State. I'm awaiting my bar admission here in California. But I would like to get more into the divination arts. I am an astrologer and tarot card reader. And that's kind of my passion project. So I'm hoping to make my vocation more in alignment with those things that I'm very passionate about.
Great. And as you can see, there's definitely a pattern between us, or a common theme between us, and it's that we are still part of what you may call like Western, how would you say it, like Western thinking, or like like how Jillian is in the field of law, I'm in the field of psychology, and Michelle is a speech pathologist, and we all three really do enjoy being in our career, but at the same time, we also have other interests, and we also have other things that we find that brings us more joy. And I know that a lot of people that I talk to, especially people that consider themselves very spiritual, kind of go through that too, where they feel like, you know, maybe they can't make money doing this as a career, whether, you know, they're a Reiki practitioner or they are an astrologer or a tarot reader, whatever it is. But we're here to say that no, like that's not the case. You can do both, or you can do either or, whatever resonates with you. But we're kind of all in a place right now where we just kind of feel like, you know, we want to do things that are more in alignment with our soul and what brings us joy. So that's kind of what we want to talk about today, is kind of like finding out what is your purpose and how you can step into your purpose and make it something that you can have in your life that, you know, you can do full time. It doesn't have to be something part-time, or it doesn't have to be something that you do, you know, on the side.
Yeah, and I think it can be hard to try to mesh those worlds together, especially when you're in more of a traditional career, but you're into spiritual topics. It's almost like at first you kind of have to let go of fear of what the community within your career is going to think. At least that was how it was for me. And that can be a very difficult process. I don't know, is that your experience at all?
Yes, it definitely is. I think it wasn't until like 2015 where I was just like, you know what, like randomly I just felt inspired to create my own like business page. And so I did that, and I just started writing more, and I started sharing more of myself. I also created a YouTube channel, and I started making videos, and I kind of was just like, you know what, like I'm not going to hide who I am, because, you know, me being on this spiritual path, me believing in magic, me, you know, connecting with the spirit world, like all of that is a huge part of who I am. And you know, I kind of had this attitude where it's like, well, if my family or if my friends can't accept me for who I am, then they don't need to be in my space. And so I started posting more things on Facebook and not really caring about what other people thought of me. And of course, in the beginning, it was kind of nerve-wracking, because it's like I would talk about like astrology, or I would talk about magic, or I would talk about like different things. And sometimes people would message me like, what are you talking about? But then I noticed that the more that people were seeing that I was just happy and I was just living my life, I noticed that it inspired a lot of my friends, and people would randomly text me that I haven't heard from in like months, like, oh, can you tell me about meditation, or can you tell me about energy healing? Or, you know, I had this situation come up where I think I saw like a spirit, I'm not sure, like, you know, like people would kind of ask questions, and it's kind of like, wow, like we all can inspire one another, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. If you are into spirituality, or if you're into magic, there's nothing, you know, to be ashamed of. Like, and so that's kind of like why we wanted to create this community or this space, is for people to know that they're not alone. Like, you're not crazy.
Yeah.
That's like the number one thing, is you're not crazy, you're not weird. You know, the more that you can be your authentic self, the more that you will attract people who will be like-minded and will be in the same vibration as you.
That's true. And that's an excellent point too, that by being yourself and being true to yourself, you create the space for others to do the same. Michelle, was that your experience? Because you kind of strike me as a free spirit that doesn't really.
Yes, that's kind of how I'd say everyone describes me when they even first meet me. They're like, you seem like a free spirit. And I'm just like, yeah, I kind of am. That's really funny. And I don't know, I feel like sometimes in work, you know, I find my people, but at the same time, it is kind of hard, I think, for me, because there's these like certain demands and you have to be a certain way kind of at work. So that's kind of the struggle within me. Maybe it's my Aries rising. I don't know, where I'm just like, no, I don't like this. You know, I don't like this. Like, I can't, I don't know. So it's just, I feel like over the years been getting progressively more to where I'm like, I need to move away from this and just into more of who I am, because I don't know, I just feel like it's in my soul and I have to do it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like a have to. It's a knowing for me anyway, you know?
It's a huge knowing. For sure.
It reminded me of something that I wanted to say. It was Karis, I think, made a video, and she was talking about when she was still in her regular 9 to 5, that she would be having these breakdowns, like going to work. And, you know, that was like a knowing for her that she needed to get out of what she was doing. So I feel like I've been kind of going through similar things of like emotions where I'm like, it's time.
Yep. It's important to listen to those emotions. and anxiety is a big indicator too that something is off track in life. Like I've had that before too, where you just have that overwhelming sense of anxiety and kind of like panic, and it's just your body's way of telling you that you are not doing your sole purpose or something's not in alignment.
Yes, I completely agree.
100%.
Yeah. So, do you ladies have any other tips for kind of coming out of the spiritual closet, as we call it, for anyone who's feeling that they really want to do so, but they're afraid to do so?
Well, I think the number one thing is definitely, know that you're not alone. I think that's the number one thing. So I think a lot of times people feel like are alone. And I think another thing you can do, there's a really great website called meetup.com. Love that website. It's a really good website where you can join. It's completely free. And you can actually like type in like your interests. So you could put things like spirituality, you could put things like meditation, yoga, whatever, that resonates with you. And in that website, what it'll do is if there's groups in your area, it'll tell you of the groups that are in your area and kind of like what events they have going on. Some of them are free. Some of them, you do have to pay. But that's another great way where you can actually meet like-minded people and find things that you want to try and see if you're interested in. So definitely doing that. Also, social media. There's so many groups that you can find with different like spiritual topics that you can join. Even like on Instagram, if you put in like hashtags like astrology or yoga or magic or Reiki or whatever, positive quotes, you can find so many pages where you can meet like-minded people and know that you're not alone. And in a way, it's like you find your tribe. I know for me a few years ago, that's kind of like how I found Jillian, and it's how I found Michelle, was through Facebook. I didn't meet them in person. We all lived in different states, at the time. Well, actually, Michelle and I both lived in Florida, but we lived like kind of not that close to one another. I think, well, maybe we did. I don't know. I don't remember. But I remember finding them through, mutual friends. I found Jillian through a class. So there's so many ways that you can find people, and it's cool because when you start to, find people in your tribe, like it really helps a lot. It really like expands like your knowledge, and you feel seen, because you get to be yourself. I think what happens is when you're in the spiritual closet, you're not really being your authentic self. When you're out in the world, you kind of probably portray yourself as just being normal, which what is normal, like, so those are some tips that I have. I don't know. What about you, Michelle? What are some tips that you have?
I feel like those are all good ones. The big one I was going to say, I think for me was Facebook. Because I feel like I didn't know about that meetup.com years ago when I was first on Facebook. So yeah, that was big for me. I love to connect online, and that kind of led me to more people who knew people, like, because, I've moved around states, and like this person knew someone in my area, and I'm like, oh, I should go meet them. So that was kind of the way I connected with people, was like through a person who knew a person, and then I knew them, which is pretty awesome. I don't know. I'm trying to think what else.
Yeah, those are good points. I definitely think that the internet nowadays is a great way to connect with people. And it kind of gives, especially when you're first coming out of the spiritual closet, it gives you like that safe space, I feel, especially if you find a group. Like a group of like-minded individuals through a class or something. That you can kind of bounce ideas off of each other and listen to each other's stories, and because you really need that support when you're coming into your own authentic true self. And sometimes your friends in your everyday world don't really understand it either, and it can feel like they're not very supportive. At least that was my experience. And eventually those friends just start to fall away. And I think that's an okay thing. And actually, I think that's good if friendships are making you doubt yourself. That it doesn't have, you don't have to like cut the person out of your life, but just to have that space a little bit, that distance, so that you can grow into your true authentic self.
Yes, I completely agree. I know for me, like I went through phases where I was kind of like, well, I connect more with, my spiritual friends or my soul family than I do with like, my friends who maybe are not as interested in this kind of stuff. And I know I did a few years ago went through that same situation where I kind of distanced myself. But then after a while, I was able to reconnect with them, and I got to connect with them on a whole new level. And in a way, we all grew. And so, yeah, like I think that it's always different for everyone, but it definitely is very common to want to, when you're going through a huge change, to feel maybe that you don't really connect with people that you once connected with, or might not be as interested in things that you once were interested in. So
yes, definitely. Well, I see we only have 4 minutes remaining on our meeting time. So are there any closing remarks that you ladies want to make?
Well, definitely know that you're not alone. You're not alone in this crazy journey that we call life. And yeah, like we will definitely love to continue making these podcasts, and any topics that you would like us to talk about, let us know. We also have a website. It's Indigo Sisterhood dot, is it WordPress.com?
WordPress.com, yeah.
Yeah, so you can follow us there on our website, where we'll post more updates. And we also have a Facebook page, which is Indigo Sisterhood. So you can always like us and follow us on there, to see like what we're up to.
Megan, you take all the right words. All the things I would say, you say. Yeah, just that I'm super excited to be here and to connect with more people. So
Yeah, me too. And this is the age, we're entering the age of Aquarius. This is about our tribe and finding our tribe. And it's also about the internet and technology. So here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
And I also wanted to add that we also want to interview spiritual people as well. We've had a lot of mentors. We mentioned Karis Molina Brown. She's been a mentor. Personally, for me, Christina Martin and Gigi Young are also ones that we're hoping to get on the show.
Yeah, that would be great.
it's going to happen. I saw it. It's 234 when you said it. So it's happening.
I love it. Right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in.
Hi, guys.
Right. Till next Sunday then.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.